Hey everyone, welcome to an Empowering Self narrative, where we unravel the stories we tell ourselves with me, your host, Nina the Crab. Our beliefs shape our reality. What if some of them are holding us back? This podcast dives deep into the power of our narratives, exposing limiting beliefs and paving the way for new, empowering stories. Are you ready to unleash your true potential? I hope so. So today's podcast is all about understanding we are worth a lot more than what we've been accepting. If you're listening to this episode, then you might have already been in a situation with a partner or a friend where you realize that maybe you deserve more than what this person is giving. Maybe you've been accepting less of what you believe love to be. About reaffirming to ourselves that we are deserving of love, that we are deserving of love that aligns with who we are, and that love exists for us. I once had a friend tell me that we accept the love we believe we deserve. The love we believe we deserve is defined to us by our surroundings, either our parents or our guardians, media, books. That love is not always healthy. I personally grew up in a home where I learned quickly that in order to receive love, I first had to satisfy someone else's needs. It was kind of like if you please me, then you'll be accepting of love. Those were the conditions that I learned to love on. And I know some people also have stories or upbringings where love looks similar, where it was a people-pleasing thing of if you please someone else, then you receive love, or if you were good, if I got good grades, I received love. It was very conditional based on the things that I could do or provide to other people. I had to show that I was worthy of love. People who tell us that they love us might also be the same people causing us harm. They might also be the same people causing us hurt and pain. And when we are told that love is synonymous with harm, violence, neglect, disrespect, a lack of care, and unsafe spaces, that is the love that we believe we deserve. And so when we go out into the world, when we go out and we build friendships and relationships and partnerships, and even go out and to find work and join communities in which we spend most of our times building our careers, we are still accepting the love that we believe we deserve based off of the love that we've received in the past. I think it's important that we first define love for ourselves. When I look up the definition of love on Google, it is basically infatuation, and that's not what love is. Love is defined by media and movies as an affection and a desire and a mysterious feeling, those butterflies in your stomach. But love is so much more than just that. There's a book called All About Love by Bell Hooks that I encourage all of my readers to listen to. And in that book, Eric Fromm is cited and provides a definition for love. And he defines love as nurturing one's own and another's spiritual growth. Bell Hooks then goes deeper into that and says that in order to truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. I remember when I first read All About Love and I was introduced to those definitions, and it was the first time that I understood that love is not just a feeling, but it is a practice. And so when I think about self-love or loving partnerships, loving friendships, a loving career, I think about it as a practice. It is an action. It is a verb. We must choose to love. Sometimes on social media, I see toxic relationships. Honestly, I can think back on a few toxic relationships that I was in, both in friend and romantic. And that was because I believed that love could also mean being hurt and being harmed and not being heard and being devalued. When I reflect back on a lot of my relationships and friendships that I believed were loving but weren't based in love, I sometimes ask myself, how did I stay in that for so long? Why didn't I see the signs? Why didn't I listen to the hurt that I was being caused by other people? Why did I choose to prolong that hurt by staying? And I started to feel a lot of shame. And if you're anything like me, you might also feel some shame too, because we feel it in our bones, in our soul, in our blood when something is just not working. But for whatever unhealed reasons that we have, We might try to make it work. We might fight for what we believe is love in hopes that we can cling on to it. But what I want to remind you that compassion is way more powerful than shame. I imagine it as if like you were in a hole. What shame does is it digs an even deeper hole. But what compassion can do is it can wash over you and cleanse you and quench your thirst. And it also fills the hole to a point where you are elevated, where you float on top of this water, up and out of the hole. But now that we have a definition for love, now that we know that love is an action, it is a verb, it is present and active, right? We know now that this is the standard that we should have for love. You are deserving of so much love. And I could have said, yes, everybody is deserving of love. But if you're anything like me, sometimes we might feel concerned about how other people are receiving their love. And we have so much love, an abundance of love to give. But we forget to value ourselves and our needs and pour that love into us. So I want to remind you that you are deserving of so much love. Do you know how awesome you are? Do you? Do you know how beautifully you radiate? How when you walk into a room, people are changed just by your presence, by your aura, by your energy. That you are a ball of light and love and positive energy. A deep, everlasting, abundant well of love exists in you. And that's why you've had so much to give. And I know that it can be disheartening when you yourself have so much love to give, but it seems like no one out there is able to reciprocate that love. That the love that you give is never matched. That the energy that you have to uplift others can never seem to be reciprocated by someone else in order to uplift you. And so maybe you felt that in certain relationships with partners or certain friendships where things were unbalanced, where you were giving a lot and not receiving as much, and now you're questioning how. But again, we accept the love we believe we deserve. Sometimes we think that love is the bare minimum. We are told and reminded that love is a feeling, that sometimes it will feel great and sometimes it'll feel horrible. And this isn't to say that loving friendships and partnerships do not have their rough times. They do. Everything does. But I feel that when you can look back on a relationship with the person and count more times that you've been hurt or harmed by their words, by their actions, by their lack of commitment, by their dishonesty, by their disrespect, it is safe to say that that is not a loving partnership or friendship or relationship. I recently had to cut off a friend and it felt horrible because I love this friend so deeply. But I also learned that our definitions of love are different. That I define love by honest and open communication and trust. And for them, those values aren't as important. And I think that's when we start to realize like what we deserve, we can define. Sometimes we don't even take the time to think about what love means for us. And so now I'm asking you with these new definitions, if they fit for you, I'm asking you to look at your relationships in life and ask yourself, does this match with the definition of love? Because sometimes we don't even ask ourselves if we are being fulfilled spiritually by being in connection with someone. Do we feel our spirits growing? Do we feel affection and support and care and commitment within a bonding with another person? And depending on whatever your answers are, will direct your steps on what actions you should take to either continue to build that relationship with another person or to potentially cut it off, right? And if you are in a space where maybe in the past you've been hurt by someone else, or maybe currently you're thinking about a specific person who has hurt you, I know that it can be tough to just sit in that pain. But I also want to let you know that you are on or getting to the opposite side of that hurt. There's a brilliant writer called Brianna Wiest, and she wrote the book called 101 Essays That'll Change the Way You Think. And in that book, there's an essay called Why to Thank the People Who've Hurt You Most in Life. And one of the reasons why she said that you should thank the people who have hurt you most in life is because those relationships didn't actually hurt you. They showed you an unhealed part of yourself, a part that was preventing you from being truly loved. That's what happens when we finally get past hurtful experiences and terrible relationships. We realize we are worth more, and so now we choose more. Did you hear that? When we realize we are worth more, we choose more. I'm gonna keep reading because it gets even better. We realize how we blindly or naively say yes to someone or gave them our mind and heart space when we didn't have to. We realize our role in choosing what we want in our lives, and by experiencing what seems like the worst, we finally acknowledge that it feels so wrong because we deserve so much more. In this past relationship that I was talking about with a friend, it hurt me so bad. It hurt me so bad because I love love, and I was hoping to be in a loving partnership with them. And it hurt me so much because I loved them intensely. But also, I realized that it hurt so much because I deserve so much more. That relationship did not align with who I am, with who God made me to be. God made me out of love, and I know that God wants to surround me with love, and what I was accepting from this person was absolutely the opposite of that. And there's no shame to be had here, there's no judgment to be had here, but there is an awareness to elevate our definition of love and to accept that we are deserving of more simply because we are existing, simply because you are you. You deserve so much more love than what you've been accepting. You deserve love that fills and nurtures your spirit. You deserve love that is rooted in commitment and care and trust and respect and knowledge and an open and honest communication. I want you to take some time to think about one person who you do feel loved by. And if you have the time to, or if you're driving right now listening to this, make me make a list, either a mental list or a physical list, and think about all the reasons why you feel at peace or safe with this person. Is it that they're a good listener? Is it that they encourage you? Do they accept you and all of your flaws? Do they speak life into you, into your plans? Are they a person that you can always rely on? Do they make the time for you? I feel that sometimes we can think about one person who has reflected to us a good demonstration of love. But if you haven't, I want you to think about the things that you do for yourself that are based in love. Think about it again. We have care, we have open and honest communication, we have respect, we have commitment. For me, care looks like I care about my hygiene. I care about making sure that I'm dressed for the day and that my room is tidied together, which at this moment it actually isn't right now, but it's something that I'm working on. But it looks like tending to my goals, making an episode for this podcast because my career and sharing my voice means so much to me. It looks like making sure that I'm well fed and that I exercise. There are so many ways to experience love, both within ourselves and outside of ourselves. But what we cannot always control is the love that we receive from others, but we can control the love that we give to ourselves. And I believe that by setting a standard for the love that we give to ourselves, we also set a standard for others outside of ourselves to meet us at. It's saying, this is what I believe love to be. This is what I require from my friends and my relationships, and I will accept nothing less. And sometimes it can be hard to set those boundaries, especially if you've been in a lack mindset of love, or you've been accepting any love that comes before you, maybe in fear that you won't find love, maybe in fear that you are unlovable. But I'm here to remind you again that you are deserving of so much love because you are you, because you are awesome, because you're a badass, because that you're talented and vibrant and existing and just you. You are amazing. And you deserve love that reminds you of that. And it is okay to set a boundary and to not accept any partnership or any friendship that just comes your way. Every person that comes in front of me and wants to be in union outside of just acquaintanceship is this person someone that respects my ideals of love. Because I want all of my relationships to be loving because I believe that it is possible. I believe that my friendships can be based in love. Remember what I say the definition of love is: nurturing one's own and other spiritual growth. And it can seem selfish. It can seem like, well, shouldn't I give love to everyone? And that is the mindset that we want to stem away from. Everyone does deserve love. We said this before, but sometimes we can be so concerned of giving that love to everyone when we don't think about our needs and what we need in order to feel loved. And then we end up being drained by giving that love out to so many people, and then sometimes resentful that that love isn't reciprocated. So it's okay to set the boundaries and set a standard of who you decide to be in close communion with. There's a phrase that goes, it may not be your fault, but it is your problem. How you believed love to be before this podcast episode, what you've been taught your whole entire life up until this point about what love should be, is not your fault. You've been fed information by your society, by media, by your caregivers of what love is. And sometimes, most of the times, that isn't based in, it isn't based in love, but because it's not, sometimes it isn't a healthy version of love, right? I think about the first chapter that Bell Hooks writes. She talks about how most parents beat their children and say it's because I love you. But when we are taught that violence is synonymous with love, we start to misconstrue what love really is. Violence does not have space where there's love. Harm does not have space where there's love. And sometimes we are taught that neglect and harm and disrespect is love. And it's time that we reform our definition of love to be nurturing, to be uplifting, caring, respectful, honest, and open. That's what love is. We must rise to the task of understanding that we deserve love that actually feels good, love that actually makes us happy, love that actually fills our souls and gives us the energy to keep going and propels us further in life. That is the love that you deserve, and that is the love that is existing for you. And you know why I know it exists for you? Because you are made of it. You are made of pure love, of light, of care, of truth and honesty. You are made of respect and generosity. You are literally hugs in a bundle. And because you exist, I know that love exists for you. And that might not always be in the manifestation of a person. That might just be how you tend and care to yourself. But I believe when we can give this love to ourselves, other people must rise to that level of love that we set the standard for. I'm recording this outro with a bit of a cold right now, but I appreciate you for coming to this podcast and listening all the way through to the end of this video. Remember that self-love is a lifelong journey and it is not linear, but thankfully you have an Empowering Self-Narrative podcast to return to find a community of people who are committed to doing the work. This is an Empowering Self-Narrative, and I'm your host, Nina the Crab. Please leave a review and possibly you might be mentioned in next week's episode. Remember y'all, create it instead of pretending like you don't deserve it, because you do. Bye.